I've always had a passion for two wheels, and whether it's bicycles, dirt bikes, or street bikes. Most of my experience is from the street for, 10 years, doing a lot of track days. Probably around 2000, I started riding dirt bikes. Once you move out to this place, there's no reason why you shouldn't ride dirt bikes, because this is about the best place in the world to ride a dirt bike. What this place tells you about bikes and what you need, and what's effective and what's not effective, I've learned through experience. So I've had some bikes that are great, I've had some bikes that aren't so great, pretty much every dirt bike you can think of up here. And you start to figure out what you want out of a bike the more you come up here. And so that kind of was what led me to where I am right now with the Alta. As I got, to the point where I really could afford my own motorcycles and, started to get into it, I got way into it. And around that same time, I was also getting into producing just fun videos. Like, it was 100% hobby activity. So before motorcycles, it was cars for me, and filming friends that had cool cars and just going out on a road and like shooting them, going past at 180 miles an hour. And then posting that to some message board somewhere. And this is all pre-YouTube days, by the way. It seems like the ones that are my favorite projects are the ones that really suck when you're doing them. Like a lot of adventures, like you don't realize that it's a good adventure until you're done and you look back on it. We did the whole motorcycle versus car drift battle. When we were working on those, like nothing ever went right at all. And every time in the stage of working on those, I'm in the middle of it. I'm like, this sucks. This is gonna be such a waste of money. Can't believe that we're even doing this. The guy just crashed the car, the bikes aren't working, somebody just got hurt. But in the end, you get all this footage, you put it together, somehow it works, and it's like, wow, that was amazing. Like, I can't believe that worked out. For me, the Redshift stood out because of the fact that they designed it as a dirt bike from the beginning, and a proper dirt bike. So it has the amount of suspension travel and ground clearance and weight distribution and componentry that, that's the part I love about, the best bikes I've had. I've always had that good stuff on them. And so this one just comes right out of the box with that. And I know that you don't have to do a whole lot to change it and make it fit whatever application, in this case being the woods and the trails. I'm a dad, I've got 2 kids, I own my own business, so I'm working a lot. There's no such thing as vacation when you have your own business. So when I want to ride, the last thing I want to do is think about the fact that I didn't change the oil on my bike, and I can't go out riding because my air filter is dirty, my valves need adjustment. So the idea of just having a bike that is always ready to go and not have to deal with the hours of maintenance was very appealing. And that's exactly what it gave me. Like, I can go home after a huge ride, wash it off, plug it in, and know that I could do the exact same ride again tomorrow and every day of the month or the year and not have to do top ends. My bike has, I think, right around 50 hours right now. That would be 2 top ends on a 2-stroke. That would be a valve job on a KTM. You have to constantly think about that stuff. And I'm the kind of guy that I want my stuff to work right. And I don't, like, if I know that it's getting towards that point where, oh, am I losing power because my valves aren't adjusted right, or is something gonna blow up on me at this point, I just stopped wanting to ride it. For me, it was just about easy access, low maintenance, and the thrill I did not know about until I bought it. I have ridden other electric vehicles before I bought the Redshift. I knew they, on paper they didn't have the same kind of specs, and was not expecting a lot. I was like, okay, it's gonna be decent. I know it's gonna be, they say 250 level of power somehow, and however that equates. I went to the dealer, I bought it, didn't even touch it, put it in the truck, brought it home, unloaded it from the truck, got on it and rode around my neighborhood, and the very first time I cracked the throttle, I literally started laughing to myself in my helmet. I was just laughing. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this thing. Like, this is the most hooligan machine I have ever had right here, by far. Probably like December. And I think it was actually Christmas Eve. I woke up and the sun's shining, it was cold. I was like, well, I'm gonna take the bike out. And I didn't even call anybody, I just came up by myself and unloaded it. And it's maybe the 3rd ride I've had on this thing. The ground was kind of frozen hard. And then all the puddles had like a ½ inch of ice that you could just break right through. So all these trails were perfect. It was really awesome just going up the trail and like the lights coming through just right. There's a little bit of mist in the air and I'm like going on this trail and you can just hear everything. You can hear the tires crushing the ice as you go through. You hit a puddle, it's just this super cool sound and it was just so surreal. You know, and I got to the top of the mountain and just kind of looking out and like I was like, wow, that was amazing actually, because I've never experienced being able to hear that much. Everything was just jiving as far as the environment was going. So it was a cool ride. It was cool, and it was just an interesting way to experience that bike. You know, like I would, you know, if I was on a typical gas bike, I would not have heard any of that stuff. If I'm riding with my son, I mean, it's amazing because I can hear him, because he's on a little electric bike as well, and he can hear me. So, you know, we can just be next to each other and I can talk to him and, you know, hey, stand up, hey, put your feet on the pegs, whatever little things he's still learning about, you know, trail riding. So that's really cool. And I can stop, like when we stop, you know, we can just talk normally because there's no sound at all and just start again. The range for me is as much as I want to ride in a day. I mean, I'm not going out and riding for 12 hours, you know, trying to see how far I can go. It's just, I want to go out and have an awesome ride for 3 to 5 hours and go back and feel satisfied. And so far, always got me back. And I've always been very satisfied by the time I get back that, you know, I had a great ride and we covered a lot of ground. You know, by the time we get to a point where people are starting to get a little bit tired and I say, okay guys, I've got, you know, like a third of a battery left. How much farther do you guys want to go? Do you guys want to keep going or not? And everyone's just like, let's go back. So, you know, the reality of most group rides is that you don't go as far as you think you're going to anyways. So I've never had an issue with the range out here. Honestly, like, I think it makes you faster on the trails to not have that and not have to worry about all the little things you're doing over here. And you can literally just think about your body position, you can think about your braking and your entry points on the corners and your lines, but never have to ever deal with missing a gear or not being in the correct gear coming out of a turn or anything like that. I've never had that much control just right here. Riding with my son, having no clutch is awesome because it's zero drama. So I know that if I have to just stop the bike for a second, I can just put it down on its side if I have to. I do love the fact that it's an adjustable bike. So depending on the rider skill level, depending on how I'm feeling that day or the terrain I'm looking at, anytime you want to, you just hit the button. So it's up or down, you know, like, do I want more or less? And it's not like it's a subtle change, you know, like there's big changes in how the bike behaves. You know, when I'm just getting started in the morning and I'm tired and I just know that I'm not quite with it on the ride, keep it nice and easy and, you know, map 1 and just let myself warm up and, you know, come up to speed. And then when I'm ready to go a little more aggressive, I'll change it to map 2. If I'm really feeling good at the end of the day, I might go into map 3 and do some big hill climbs. And then, you know, map 4 is just for when you let your buddy ride it and you want to show off. But yeah, it's huge. I change them constantly as I ride. And that's what's really cool though, is like it feels like a different bike when you make those changes. So it adapts to you. I mean, I honestly feel like I've got better riding skills than I probably should have, just because that bike makes you feel like you're a better rider. You can so predictably put it into a corner. It might drift both tires out a little bit, but the way it does it is so balanced. And then you come on the throttle and it's just so precise. It is literally the best cornering bike I've ridden of any bike. I think the greatest strength of the Redshift is its versatility. It excels in so many ways. It's so many things that I've never seen another bike that can do that many different things. So if it's riding on the street, if it's you know, ripping up a trail, if it's just putting around at 2 miles an hour in the campground, it can do everything.